So, but you can skip these names. You just look at the suffixes. A, ya, nu, a, n, u, na, and aya, paya. So you have all the 10 different stems you can build from the roots. This is the whole thing. By the way, all the verbs have one of the classes. So to say sarvadhatukas, what we call sarvadhatukas, all the roots, all 2,100 something roots fall into one of these at least. Yeah.
Uh, Got it. And these roots are the maximum root words you were saying sometimes.
Yeah, there is no more. Beyond this, there are no other roots. All of them fall into these 10 classes, one way or another.
Why are there no other roots? Because in this, can you describe everything?
No, because when you build the root, then there are 10, build the verb, there are 10 different ways of building the verb out of the root. And here they are. There are no more ways of building the verb. You know? These 10 ways, 10 different stems describe all possible derivations in Sanskrit. Well, all possible within the classical Sanskrit, yes.
Why were these 10 chosen?
They are not chosen, they are just descriptive. They analyze the language and then they combine different verbs under these topics because that's easier to classify them. That's it. That's a classification for us to know. It's not that they were chosen or they were before language. Language was there before, and then it was classified within these 10 frames.
So the ones who didn't have grammar, how did they learn it at that point? Like, how did this even spread, Vladimir? Like, somebody has to start with this, no?
Oh, it's a very ancient tradition, by the way, Sanskrit. Sanskrit linguistic tradition is Panini describes many grammarians. Yaska, who is pre-Paninian, describes many grammarians. It was the whole tradition. They were always curious about the language. So they were analyzing it, where there is a root, what is suffix, what is prefix, what is ending, how it builds the word, what it means, how the meaning is revealed, and so on. They were always constantly preoccupied with this. But the final system took place
But,
with these 10 classes, yes.
but, um, but for somebody, like, where did it start? Like, like, for example, this, like, I'm learning from you. If somebody originally gets it, no, and then talks to others, but then somebody else also has to start talking. Like, how did the first group of people figure this out?
First group, let us imagine how it could be.
Yeah. Okay.
Because we do not know really how it was first group. Whether there was a first group, there must be some first group, yes. Rishis, as it is said, received the language and knowledge. They saw the hymns in the highest heaven. They saw the aksharas. Akshara, sahasra akshara parame vyomon. Thousands of aksharas are in the highest heaven. So it was revealed to them how these aksharas came into being. Aksharas means syllables or indestructibles, yeah? Some kind of eternal um, vibrations, sounds. If you look at the Sanskrit alphabet, you will see these aksharas: ka, kha, ga, gha, nga, cha, cha, ja, ja, nya, ta, ta, da, da, na, ta, ta, da, da, na, pa, pa, ba, ba, ma, ya, ra, la, va, sha, sha, sa, ha. These are the aksharas. Why they are aksharas? Because they are perfectly articulated meanings within our apparatus, yeah? Within a given apparatus. Articulatory apparatus which we have is permitting us, is allowing us to systematize different states or different psychological states or different meanings, as it were. Every time we make an effort to articulate the sound, we produce a particular akshara. No? So if I make touched, voiceless um, ka, back tongue, guttural, and it will be back tongue, or jihva mula will touch the back tongue. So what does it really mean, that ka and a and ha and the whole varga, ka, ka, ga, ga, nga in the throat? What kind of psychological state it covers or represents within this given apparatus when we articulate the sounds? So from there we have simple roots which can come into existence. So we have this ka as a space, or ka as the being which is producing any space, or ka becomes a suffix which is not modifying, which is not changing the meaning, like balaha, balakaha, putraha, putrakaha. So all this ka, which is the okam, kam, okan, kan is to dig, ka is the space, kam is to desire, to love. Yeah. So you will have applications of these meanings, of these psychological states to a particular context in which they generate this, what we know as meanings, or the roots. Roots are being built from this system of articulatory devices. Yeah? So yeah, if I take E, or something simpler for us to understand, E as a pressing of the tongue to the palate, it's a tense, yeah, it's an intense state of existence, tending to a goal. You could feel this tension because you press with the tongue to the palate, and uh, and then and then you have the root E, which means to go, to move. Why moving? Why, moving is the most general significance. So there is staying and moving. There are two big general significances. Yeah? Staying means everything is undifferentiated, everything as it is. And then when something is moving in that staying background, it is noticed. Suddenly it is noticed as different. We can differentiate. Oh, there was a movement. There's something moved. Yeah. So that something moved in this unmoving thing is root E. Oh, it is, I'm digging too deep, yeah, to the embryology of meanings, how the meanings of movement came into existence altogether.
Right.
So if you think about it, and then you take the chi root, simplest root of chavarga, E is chavarga, E cha cha ja janya chi chi ji chi ni yi shi, then chi is actually to point, to notice one point, to focus on one particular point within this mass of undifferentiated existence, which means to be conscious of, to become aware of some detail, to notice, to pile up everything to one point, one pointedness appears. Chi root, chinoti, chinute root. And from a chit, consciousness. Consciousness is to become aware of that, of any point within this undifferentiated state. To become aware of any point. And then G, to conquer, to break through, to pierce and to occupy. And Shi, to sharpen. So you will have all these meanings coming from that E, differentiated state of existence, from undifferentiated A to differentiated E. And from here you have a number of roots and words, and this Varna E is used in many roots. So how
So
does it?
that roots are together 2100.
Yes, it's
Wow.
it's
Have you decoded all 2100, Vladimir? What does the root signify?
maybe not all of them, because many of them are used only in the lexicon, but from the dictionary actively used roots, yes, I went through all of them. I made the whole list of them and looked into how they relate to this etymological system behind, yeah, why they mean what they mean, how they arrived at these contextual meanings. So if you take E, for example, this tension or this one-pointedness, and then to oo sound, which is very different from E. You have to have two lips. It is on the periphery. It is lip. It's the face, the last periphery of your mouthful. So ooh, you could feel that you have that fullness of space, or that duality, because two lips are holding the space, as it were. Between two lips there's something happening, some tension or some frequency. So, and also all this pa varga, pu pu bu bu mu, if you take them in pure sense, you will have pu, to purify. Interesting, purify. It's like your puti from here is that which is cast out as an impurity, to purify yourself. It's a kind of periphery which, crossing which, you are not yours. It's not yours anymore. So to purify is to cast everything which is not yours out of yourself, as it were. And here you have bhurut, to become, to occupy the space, yeah? And or mu, to bind and hold the space, or pu from here, pulla, to spread, like pullati, or spota, sput, also to open up, to disclose. All this fullness, purna also will be, all of these words will have a meaning of occupying the space, filling out the space to the periphery. And p, interesting because it's labial, and p, it's like the wall, you could feel it. And para, pra, all these roots, all these prefixes. Para, gacchati, paratma, paramatma. Yeah, para means transcendental, on that other shore, beyond. So it is, pu is here within, but para, moving beyond, pra, moving forward. So you see how from general sense these meanings are produced, and the whole
Right.
Sanskrit is very transparent, and you can feel the meaning within the words. You recognize them on the deeper psychological level. I have, by the way,
How
the
do we get there?
you have to first of all know a little Sanskrit, of course, because
Okay.
how else would you do it? And then you will
Hmm.
have to start looking for the deeper meaning. Yeah? And you will find it. It is everywhere there. It requires a particular kind of mind, or vaster mind which can see and see associations and applications. We have to distinguish in a very interesting way from the general significance to the contextual meaning. We should understand that every meaning of the word in the dictionary is a contextual meaning, the meaning of application. When that psychological general significance was applied to a particular context, it generated the meaning. Yeah?
Hmm.
But how that meaning was first, in the first place, we have to recover, as it were. We have to dive into embryology of first meanings. For example, what is to move? We never think, or Ruth Marie, to die. We never think what is really to die. What does it mean to die in terms of significance of the word? How word could express the meaning to die? What does it really do to convey the meaning to die? Yeah? Or to love? What does it really do to love? Huh? We
Hmm.
never think about what is love, die, move. Yeah? Even speak. What is to speak? What is to think? We have no idea.
Hmm.
Now, you have to dive into that and to the embryology and see that root man, to think, and ma is generic. It is within kindred sounds like ma, man, and ma is to measure, actually, to measure and to create a shape, to shape by measuring out of the immeasurable, undifferentiated something, you measure out something special, something separate. Now, the separation of the form, or shaping the form out of immeasurable, is root ma and kindred root man. So ma is from here matri, mother. Mother is the one who shapes the Maya, the illusion, the creative force, because she creates shapes. And man, to think. Think is to create shapes, to shape things, to distinguish one shape from another. So it requires dwelling, yeah, and understanding how these general meanings came into existence from the sound values and articulations.
Awesome.
Yeah.
With that, can you send me this recording also? This is one of the most beautiful classes so far ever.
Wow. Okay.
Uh,
All right.
yeah.
Sure.
It touches like the core raw nerve.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
very very deep. No, and it's very hard to actually sort of like explain it the way you are trying to explain it, because most of it has to be like felt,
Yeah.
and it's very obvious that you've discovered it and you have that joy of discovery, and now you have the joy of like sharing. Like,
Right, right. And it is always a discovery. It's always something as if you reconnect with the source. Yeah. You have
yeah.
to reconnect and recognize it. And it widens the scope of your mind. Yeah. Yes.
All right, Vladimir. I have a call in like a minute. Can
Sure.
we,
Yeah.
sure, close the
Om
class?
Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yeah.
Okay.
See you.
Okay.
Bye.
See you next week. 6
Yeah.
o'clock. Yes.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.